Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name's Chris and it's fantastic to have you back with us for another video. And in today's video we're going to have a look at Terra Luna. Now, I mean, if I said to you a month ago, would you like to buy Terra Luna off me for $2.30, you would have been biting my hands off. How do you feel if, how would you feel if I said that to you today? Really interested to get your views and opinions. So do let me know in the comments below. But ultimately, we're going to have a look at Terra Luna. We're going to have a look at, what's happened, how it's happened, and what next, really. But more importantly than all of that, I'm going to talk about the learnings that we should be taking from this whole event. Really important, so stay till the end. If you enjoy this sort of content, mash up that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, tap in that bell, selecting all the notifications so you never miss a video. Would really appreciate a like, and let's see if we can get the likes up to 1,000 for this video. Really trying to sort of give a different view on Terra Luna and the whole situation, so it would be much appreciated. Let's get down to the desktop. Okay, so we're going to start with Terra Luna. It's at $2.23 and it's dropped a little bit more. It was $2.30 not so long ago. 93.05% down, ranked 59th by market cap. I mean, a month or so ago it was at $116. A few days ago it was at $84, and now we're at $2.23. I mean, it's just crazy. Now, I will get on to whether I think it'll survive towards the end of the video, but let's sort of cover, what's really been going on, right? So USDT fell, oh, it says falls, but fell to about 35 cents roughly. It may have fallen lower if I can get my words out. But basically, in essence, Terra Futures sees 106 million in liquidations. Some 58% of Luna traders were betting on higher prices, and they may have been liquidated also. But ultimately, this is just craziness, right? And one thing that I do want to highlight here is from a tweet, we've got 894,693 USDT worth of Luna being sold in large orders, in the last 5 minutes, and there's some big players at play here, right? And lots of people making accusations that potentially this is market makers. I've even seen, and it may well be, right? I'm not saying it isn't, but we've also seen that maybe the governments are behind this, right? Because actually this is a primed opportunity to regulate the stable coin industry. So retail investors, as stupid as we are, cannot be burnt in the same way. We need to be using their as others are articulating, their programmable money, because that will keep us safe. But ultimately, there are huge learnings, and we'll come on to those a little bit later. But Bitcoin, was down 3.5% through the trading day in Asia, briefly touching 30,230 mark roughly. And this is all happening as the Terra Luna Foundation, or the Luna Foundation Guard, moves its entirety of reserves of Bitcoin to exchanges to defend the UST peg. Now, this is why we're seeing the price of Luna fall down to these silly numbers, down at 213 now, still going down. Now, as this happens, right, I do feel that we're seeing market makers, potentially governments, looking to manipulate the markets. This is my opinion. I've got nothing to back it up to make it, that I can say that it's factual. But it does look, very much like, these events are orchestrated to literally make an example And obviously we need regulations. Personally, I think that's a real positive. I'm not against stable coins. I'm not against cryptocurrency in any way, and decentralization. But I've always kind of said that you have to have an element of centralization. So could be really bad for projects with their own stable coins. I think you're going to have your central bank digital currency, your programmable money. You're going to have some of the projects or companies like Circle, USDC, and I think there will be a mixture of government owned stable coins and private company, I guess, or entities that own stable coins, and ultimately they're going to be heavily regulated, right? So it's one of those, but you are kind of playing a game. For me, it's an interesting one. I don't think the algorithmic stable coins have actually managed to nail what they're looking to do just yet. But this is for me a mixture of things. It's not just perhaps the technology that's sat behind it. I think that's probably quite good, actually. I think it's the fact that a lot of these altcoins or companies, projects, however we want to articulate it, have rushed product to market. And in this case, they didn't have the pool set up as they perhaps should have, and ultimately the CEO has kind of let slip with some interviews, and may have given bad actors the idea to look into it in far more depth, and have done so, and have manipulated it to make an example of Luna. But not only to make an example of it, obviously to move money their way out of retail investors' pockets. So this is a game. We need to understand the game that we're in, and ultimately I think and we talk about Cardano a lot. Cardano haven't rushed their project to market like some of these others have been rushing to market. And I don't think Terra Luna is going to be the only one that suffers here. There could be other projects, Anchor Protocol, they're suffering. But I think there could be more. And I will do a separate video on that, just highlighting some of the projects we should probably be aware of. But ultimately, Terra Luna, it's an interesting one. You're starting to see, exchanges starting to warn, put warnings out about Luna. Like it's a bit late for that. 87% down, 96% down, and now you're telling people, you should probably be careful. It's a bit late for that. Just my opinion. We've got an expert's take on it here. So, and this is from CoinStore. Explain the whole fiasco to Business Today. The recent incident of USDT losing its dollar peg has sent shockwaves across the crypto market, and exposes the weaknesses of algorithmic-backed stablecoins during the large liquidation due to the macro market volatility. UST fell down as low as 60 cents yesterday and sparked a major sell-off in Luna, and a result, one of the biggest price crashes in Luna's history. The Lunar Guard Foundation scrambled to support UST by liquidating large Bitcoin wallets for sustaining USDT. I keep saying that, UST value. As we speak, Luna is down to $11. Obviously, it's way down now. But ultimately, that's in essence what's happened. And Luna have sold their Bitcoin at a loss, at a huge loss. It's people may think it's really easy. Buy low, sell high. Sometimes you don't have a choice. And this is why Nick and myself don't like leverage, right? And ultimately, that is what this is. Now, we've got, obviously, the CEO here. He's basically saying that, I understand the last 72 hours have been extremely rough for all of you. They're working really hard. Ultimately, they've got an article here on what the stabilization mechanism is and how it works for UST. But basically, in a nutshell, They are still working on, restoring the peg. I will link this in the description of the video for you to go sort of take a look at what is being said. But ultimately, there are lessons to be learnt. And what are the lessons to be learnt? It's really, interesting, this one, because the project obviously, has done remarkably well. It's been one of those projects that, has had a lot of VC backing, lots of influencers with large followings, talking about Luna very, very positively. The tech, it is good. The team is good. And ultimately, there is a flaw. It's super early in this space. Now, for me, I think Luna is going to survive it. But it is so risky just to come out and say that. I just think that the project will bounce back. I believe and I understand that they're looking to sell Luna in order to raise the capital required. It'd be interesting to see how things unfold over the coming weeks and months. I have personally put some play money into Terra Luna. I think it will survive. I think it will do well. I think it will flourish. But, ultimately, no one really knows. We could see the fact that they end up, being completely liquidated and going to zero. So, really interested to get your views and opinions on Luna in the comments below. But the lessons to be learned, right, is always go, do your own research, never follow influencers. There's lots of influencers been talking about it. I mean, I've even said that I think Luna is going to be one of the safe assets and will recover nicely. I never saw Luna fall in 93%. I really didn't. And I don't think anybody in this space could put their hand on their heart and say, yeah, they saw this coming. I thought personally it would have got down to about $30 and it would start to recover. That isn't the case. I think that there's big people in this space. I say big people, big investors in this space. Institutions, governments, all of this, market makers, and they can make a lot of money out of instances like this. So we need to be really careful. We need to understand the game that we're playing. We want to make sure that our portfolios are diversified. I did put out something on Twitter and in our Discord yesterday to talk about portfolio management. I think this is something that we should be, looking at Luna and going, I'm glad I'm not all in Luna, right? Like if you're all in one project, that's not good. You also want to take a look at making sure that you're not keeping crypto on exchanges. And the reason why I say this, there is some stuff surrounding the performance of Coinbase in particular. But ultimately, if Terra Luna, a project that's got lots of VC backing, it's got a good team, it's got good tech, and ultimately there's a gap there, right? We've got to put our hands up and understand that, with the pool not being set up as it should be, there was a gap there and it was rushed to market, right? So, any project in this space, any company could have this sort of event happen, right? So, for me, try to use or utilize a hardware wallet. Make sure that you're not keeping your crypto on exchanges, and make sure you own the keys to your crypto is basically what I'm saying. Lots of regulation talk, lots of potential bad actors, lots and lots of potential risk currently in the space, and fear as well, right? I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just want people to be aware of the risks and take learnings from these big events. If you enjoyed this sort of content, mash up that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, tap in that bell, selecting all the notifications so you never miss a video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.